The return of Franssen. The cozy. The return of Franssen the cozy.
Welcome to the Backlash, a weekly discussion about the past, present, and future of Western civilization. I am your host, Rebecca Hargraves. You may know me from my YouTube channel, Blonde in the Belly of the Beast. I'm joined with my regular co-host,
Of course I do.
Riley.
Hey, everybody. Have a good night.
Vincent James.
Hey, how's it
There
going?
he is, the Chad.
And Cameron McGregor.
King.
Happy Kwanzaa.
And we have special guest in studio
I like the
today,
super
our first
chat.
in-studio guest, Steve Franssen. He is
Took a girl on a date for New Year's Eve, found out she has Jew blood, so I left her.
He's been on my YouTube channel. Vince
goat.
is. We're so glad to have you in studio with us today, Steve.
Thank you for having me.
The
Do you wanna
goat is
start by
back.
Giving everybody a little bit of background on your work over the last, 10 years, right?
Yeah. Oh, the long and short of it. Well, I was on the show called This Week on the alt-right for a while, a couple years, and then after that, I got.
Steve's back, and he's better than ever.
And was trying to help Trump get a second term, and then I was live streaming.
Yo, you guys on some Zen?
TV for a while, and then I quit politics. I was having some health troubles, and just wanted to refocus on philosophy, which was my original love. I was into that way before politics, and that's been fantastic. Actually, my health has been.
The set is crazy. Honestly, it's an amazing set.
And I've been really happy doing philosophy, and so
The font is a little bit too much like Psych, that show Psych,
passing through
with the titles, like the typeset, like that era.
you guys. So
Well,
Like a
are you
2005
ready for
ad
us
for
to drag
perfume
you into the
or
hell of
Macy's.
the political-
But the set is like, or JCPenney.
yes,
But the set is actually
A lot of
awesome.
people that were into philosophy just became like racist.
It's Dave Riley's house. I've been there before. It's nice. Very nice.
I used to watch
True.
Stefan Manu.
Dave Riley has good taste if
Yeah.
this is his
Stefan was
house. Very nice.
He gave me some of my first like real red pills about certain
Yes,
things.
indeed.
I wish I would have listened to him about. Well, I wasn't listening to him before, but he talked a lot about Bitcoin back in like 2013. If I was listening to him back then, I
Yeah.
The
would
white man is back.
have been real good.
But his takes are hit or miss. Like I remember during, I think it was a few months.
Yeah, what
after
is- what
COVID,
is
so
Mullen
when
you up to
everybody
lately?
Probably should have figured it out. He made a video talking about the morality of infecting people through your own negligence by not wearing masks and social distancing. And after that, I was like, nope. And I liked Stefan. I've been on a show. We did like a therapy session together, and we talk sometimes.
yo,
I did.
Therapy session together. What's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
like?
go.
Well, you know,
that was his thing. He
was his
like
thing, yeah.
he was like a therapist or
Yeah.
whatever, like an online, and he would record.
I used to love
His
listening
shit.
to him.
So did I.
Well, I would
It was a barn?
for like the.
That makes sense. That makes sense why it's so high up.
his
Not an
truth,
argument. Not an
Yeah.
argument.
Very, very nice.
the
Very
truth about
tasteful.
series
Well done.
Was so fantastic.
Were they trying to do weddings in it or
So
something?
much from that. Yep.
That's
This
what
seems
got
like the
me
type of
into it.
remodeling you do if you want to
Show
like
the
do
graphs
host
and all the
weddings.
statistics and all the data. Like that was my thing.
That's when he was at his peak. Yep.
Yeah.
He's still around though. I think he's still doing stuff on Rumble.
on locals,
BitChute
yeah,
or
locals and
something.
Rumble.
Locals, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in there. I'm a Molyneux stands for sure.
Oh, speaking of racists, we do have a new sponsor.
Yes. Yes, we do.
From the racist Tucker Carlson. Do you want to intro that?
Yeah, here, I think I can maybe like hold it up. These
you
ALP
go.
pouches, they are a direct competitor with Zinn. So we've got three different flavors. And anybody that wants to try one, we've got mountain wintergreen, tropical fruit, and chilled mint.
So this is Tucker Carlson's brand. Let me
This
try
is
the mint one. Let me here. Throw me the mint one.
Yeah, the chilled mint one's good.
Which of you homos is going to have tropical
I-
fruit?
I'm supposed to do
It doesn't get better than this. This is what it's all about.
direct from Tucker. I'm supposed to do an ad read.
They got the big money, huh?
Go
All
ahead.
right,
Here,
this
let
is
me-
like 20 seconds. Ready? Here
go
we
ahead.
go.
Look at the camera.
All right, here we go.
They did it.
Which camera?
Good for
One
them.
in the middle.
Okay.
Good for them. I'm happy when people do this. That's actually wild.
Story and cut to the chase. We love nicotine pouches, and we're here to share that love. Our
Crazy,
mantra,
crazy.
better
They're getting
time
ad
isn't
reads. That's
just a
wild.
Tagline. It's a promise.
Big W,
Better
honestly.
products, better experiences, and a genuine commitment to a
Vince
better
James
world.
got the big
That's
connections.
why a portion of every
Big
sale
Vince.
goes to real causes like racism. No political players. Simple, honest, and yes, better. Tucker Carlson, thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for I was holding it upside down the entire time. Let's crack this open.
I picked a crappy time to quit
I
nicotine.
can fix it in post. Don't worry.
Now I'll never get that sponsorship from Tucker Carlson.
What are we talking about tonight?
Are we gonna get
spin mine
sued for
around.
this? Let's do some rapid fire stories. So I was in Mexico this week, and I every time I looked into the news, there was a new
Jake
terrorist
Lloyd
attack
one.
that was
Jake Lloyd one
not
because of the
being,
restaurants, so
reported on
like
appropriately.
the 24/7 like fast food
New Orleans
places resumed being
truck attack.
24/7 after COVID
We'll talk
closed.
about some of the similarities, but
The Jake
it's really
Lloyd
hard
one.
for me not to get conspiratorial about all of these, except for the shooting last
Who's
night.
this guy?
which
This guy's related to Steve Franssen. That's Steve Franssen.
Black people. That was gang activity.
It was gang
actually.
activity. We'll talk about that one, but
all right.
most briefly because it's
Right.
pretty above board.
It's just black people being black.
So I guess where do we start? We start with the first one is that this. No, those are our show notes. I don't.
Ooh, go back.
This is Jewish. In the middle. Big bold letters.
No, so we were starting out in New Orleans.
Let me do their show. I'll steal their notes and do their show.
This guy named, what was his name? Abdul. No, come on.
Shamsuddin Jabbar. I like how you spelled it phonetically. That was very helpful.
No, that's how it
Base goes coast to coast.
And so I thought it was.
Is this White
funny
Boy Wednesday
because if
revamped?
you
I think
look
so.
at The way that his name is spelled. Here, I'll give people a
Oh, I see
look
what you're doing.
into our notes here. His name is Shamsuddin Jabbar, but it's Sham Sudden Jab Bar. Like, does that have anything to do with COVID?
Nope.
Is that? Am I just being?
Nope, this is tinfoily and insane. I reject this.
Did I put my tinfoil on a little too tight?
No, I thought you just did that so that you knew exactly how to say his
No.
name. But now that I'm looking at it, it's pretty easy to pronounce. So
Right. So
weird guy.
this ISIS, the media alleged that this was an ISIS attack. There was a ISIS flag that was on the back of the truck.
That happened what was that thing that happened where there was an ISIS flag and it still had the freaking creases in it?
This one still has the creases in it. You can see right here, down here in this general vicinity,
Way cool.
you can see the creases. They're there. It's just like the Nazi flag at Charlottesville.
What was the one? No, there was another one where someone like did something and there was like a brand new flag with like creases. Oh, it was like
Charlottesville.
it was
Charlottesville.
I
Yeah,
thought
it
it was
was the
something, there was
Nazi
something more
flag.
recent.
Okay, maybe he just hasn't broken it in yet. Maybe he just got a brand new ISIS flag just for this event.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
You can't even decipher the language on it.
Yeah.
You're thinking of this.
Look at that.
No, there was something else. There was something
What was
else.
it in a
There's
bunch
some
of
other-
tiny little? It was just in super. They just got it from wherever, not Amazon.
So anyway, so this guy.
Why did
plows
they
into a
pair
crowd.
Franssen up next to the lady?
Do we have the video here? And you can see this is at Bourbon Street in Canal.
I want Franssen to crash out
He's waiting in traffic.
and just be like, "What are we talking about?" If Franssen did that, he would win my respect forever. Why are we talking about this? How does this matter? And what does this have to do with the price of beans?
It's interesting. He killed 2 Israelis.
Oh, really?
6% of the.
What the fuck? How do you do that?
6% of the people injured were from Israel. I don't understand.
If he's still alive, he better play the lottery.
So that was the incident right there. All right, we're done with that. And he had this flag.
Let's talk the
this
raw
ISIS
milk market
flag
prices.
that he was flying upside down on the back of his truck, and then it came out that he also had drinking problems.
They had to bring the goat out.
And he also has Jewish nicknames like Eli and Sham.
They had to bring the goat out for one last show.
That's kind of weird.
One last show, the goat had to come out.
Jewish nickname?
I
I thought that was. I don't know about
Seems like a stretch to me.
Sham.
Anyone else?
That's like Shamrock, right?
don't know. But what else is interesting
Anonymous
is that
sent $5. Steve should just stand up and spank this bitch.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that out loud. But that's an interesting idea.
and then later we get Vegas, where a Cybertruck pulled up.
To the Trump Hotel, right?
Right.
Pulled up to the Trump Hotel and just exploded?
Blew up.
Yes.
Clip 2. Oh,
Blew it back like you don't know anybody.
That looks straight out of the
Holy
movie.
shit. I never even saw that
oh,
video.
really? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I know. I knew that.
goodness.
I saw the pictures of it on fire. I didn't know it blew up like
Raw
that.
milk is good. I like
The
raw
story
milk.
gets even weirder. This guy Matthew.
I was just joking. I didn't know it literally blew up.
no, it
like
did.
that.
Livelsburger. Livelsburger. Okay, so everybody just
Loves
assumes that
Burger.
he dies
Real
in the
dude.
Cybertruck
Name is
from the
Loves
explosion,
Burger.
but He had a
Oh, I know. My
self-inflicted
name is
gunshot
Goyam
wound.
McLovesburger,
He had a gunshot
and I'm
wound to the
totally
head.
real.
Oh yeah.
What
He
the
had
fuck?
a gunshot wound to the head. We don't know.
We don't know if
that
it was self-inflicted. It's being reported as self-inflicted.
wasn't.
He was the head of autonomous vehicles for like General Dynamics, I believe.
Oh,
right.
dang.
So he worked in the autonomous warfare department, right?
That sounds like a Swedish
His
name.
body
Burger?
shows
That's a
up in
Swedish
the
name.
Cybertruck with a hole in his head, and 17 seconds after the Cybertruck pulls up in front of the Trump hotel, it explodes. So
Matthew Loves Burgers
is it
Evans.
possible that
Whoa.
this guy was actually already dead?
Yeah, and it's self-drove.
And it
He's
was
taking a
like
trip back into the big city.
Missile, basically.
Get supplies. Get supplies for the ranch.
I gotta find it.
Pretty radical.
There was
Yeah.
a Clinton aide that was shot.
Oh, Burger is German.
And he
Yeah,
had
you're right.
ties with Epstein. And he
German
was found
and Swedish.
in a
I get them
tree,
confused.
hanging from a tree with a gunshot wound to his chest,
And that was a suicide.
and that was ruled a suicide.
That was definitely suicide.
How the fuck do you commit suicide after you hang yourself?
Well-
do you shoot yourself and then just fall? Like, why would you even hang yourself if you're going to shoot yourself? That makes no sense.
Right. I remember there was a priest was it Detroit 5-6 years ago that I think had a double shot to the back of the head, ruled suicide amidst a child abuse scandal.
Impossible.
Yeah, right. So
Also, if it were a suicide, I think he probably, it was too coincidental. This was a Tesla and this was at Trump Hotel.
right.
So obviously there's some connection here. But if it was a suicide to send a message, don't you think we would have
Pulls into the
found some kind of
valet area,
manifesto that
and
that would
as
have been
of course you all
released
know,
to
the
somebody at some
explosion occurs
point?
within 17
I don't know. This is
seconds
highly
of his
suspicious.
This is
arrival
probably one of those
at
inside
the
ball
valet.
things. Like,
Yeah.
if you know the signals,
Where
you
he
know the
then
signs,
immediately
so
heads
watch
to
out
the
for
Trump
it.
Hotel.
This, you got the message loud and clear from this.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Yep, totally. His wife was
Thoughts?
anti-Trump publicly, though.
His
Agree
wife
or disagree?
was
Thoughts?
anti-Trump, but there is some interesting evidence from
Pulls into the
Suleiman
valet area, and as of
that
course
the
you all know,
Cybertruck
the
bomber
explosion
was
occurs within
a
17
MAGA
seconds.
Trumper.
I love Suleiman.
And so we've got
At the
some
valet.
posts here. He went
Where he
as
then
Matt
immediately heads to the
Berg on
Trump Hotel.
Facebook.
Oy vey, the boy goes
What was
no.
his real
And
name?
as of course you all know,
Matthew,
the explosion occurs within
Livelsberger?
17 seconds
Oh, wait, he
of
was
his
Jewish
arrival
or
at the
German?
valet.
Had to
don't-
be.
That's a
He had to
German.
be too.
That's a
German
Oh, really?
name.
Yeah.
I like the mixing of this audio.
His religion was,
Pulls
I'm not
into
sure
the
if you know.
valet area, and as of course
But-
you all know,
I like the audio mixing right now.
occurs within
Yeah, so
17
that's
seconds
weird. And
of his
then it gets
arrival
even
at the
weirder
valet.
because
Where he then
the
immediately heads
both
to
of
the
these
Trump
incidents
Hotel,
are connected because
pulls into the
Livelsberger
valet
and
area,
Jabbar
and as of
both
course you
spent
all
time
know,
at
the explosion
Fort
occurs
Bragg,
within
which
17
is a massive
seconds
army base
of
in
his
North
arrival
Carolina,
at
and
the
It is a
also
huge
Didn't they
army
rent
base.
the car? Wait, what was the thing about the rental car?
They
They
both
rented
rented them
the-
from Toro.
I'm confused. They have a audio engineer, but he doesn't have the headphones in. They have like a guy running the show.
guess who
But he doesn't have the headphones in,
main
which is
money
confusing.
is at Turo? It's Barry Diller.
Son of a bitch.
It's like, so okay, what's going on there? They both rented from the same car rental company. Both of them.
But
were
it makes sense. You're trying to learn how to do it. If you're trying to learn, it takes time to get
by
things
the
done.
way, went 140.
It takes time to get in the flow of things, so that's not really it.
Trying to recruit people.
That's not really a big issue.
That's right, motherfucker.
Boy, go.
There's something up.
He feels the audio.
There's something dirty.
He even is the goat.
Have you guys ever watched that movie Shooter?
Shooter?
I saw
Is
that
it
one.
Mark Wahlberg?
Mark
or-
Wahlberg, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Killer
good movie.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
movie.
they plan an assassination on someone, and then they say, "Oh, you're a great sniper," or they're like, "We're trying to prevent the assassination of a president."
Yeah, if
You're
it
like
if
the
they
best
want, if it was a
sniper.
Green Beret,
Like out of the military,
he could easily have
And I guess the
actually done
government
something
left him on
crazy.
a hill to die somewhere, and he like quit. He like went to the mountains, and they're like, "Oh, you're the best sniper. We need you to like route out. We need you to show us the path of what." Like what,
We thought-
what a sniper would use
Yeah,
to kill the
Oddfall
president.
thought we
And
were
they got
leaving
him on
people in the
camera,
past, but
like, going
looks like
through
old
the
ghosts have
entire,
returned.
like route and everything, and they like blamed it on him.
Yeah.
And
But
based
then
on
he,
a true,
then he got him back.
then he got him back.
Yeah.
Well, that part's not based on a true story, but the government does this shit all the time. So
Oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't-
it should be no surprise to us.
And so there was a weird press conference that I did want to also highlight where Senator John Kennedy was.
if I was
in
at the
New Orleans.
panel right now, you know what I would do? Is I would
This is
start
weird.
taking the
I want
cookies.
the viewers to
I would start eating all the cookies. I go,
Can I
cookie
say it?
for me? And then I'd lean over, eat the cookie.
three.
Wait about 10 more seconds. Cookie for me, and do it until I eat all the cookies.
Catch
and
these
people
people.
just get totally just start to laugh. It'd be so
Catch
funny.
these people.
People would be
And
so
then tell the American
amused.
people the truth.
They would be so
Now,
amused.
I don't want you to tell
Ooh, cookies for
us
me?
anything that's
And
going
I
to
lean over.
interfere
Ooh, cookie for me? I
with
love
your
cookie.
investigation.
And then I eat it.
And there are
And I
things
do that again,
I've been
again, and
told that
again.
I think are true that I'm
Until
not
everyone
sharing
was
with you today
doubled
because it
over in
could
laughter, and I
interfere
just
with their
continued doing
investigation.
it, pretending it was totally normal.
But after we get to the bottom of this, they need to tell the American people the truth. And
And then I'd finish and say, I'm the Cookie Monster.
of America, the truth.
Off the mic.
I think the mayor and the governor are very wise to
I'm the
postpone this
Cookie
ball game
Monster.
for 24 hours. There's just too much stuff we don't know, and it's just not worth it. But I guess my final point is, I will promise you this: I will, when it is appropriate and this investigation is complete, you will find out what happened and who was responsible.
Yeah, right.
No, we
Or
never
I
do.
will raise fresh hell,
Oh, whatever.
and I will
Wait,
chase
what is
those.
he talking about?
Well, so this was about the New Orleans one. This
Yeah,
was
I
the
know.
New
What is he
Orleans one.
talking
He's
about? Tell the
saying
people
that-
the truth.
Well, he's suggesting that he's been told things about what happened and why, and he's upset with that. And he's saying that if that story doesn't come out, then he's going to spill the beans on it, I guess.
I wonder how much. Oh, by the way, we're going to read the super chats at the end of the show. So send your super chats. We do a whole segment at the end of the show.
PowerChat.live/thebacklash.
Bottom left hand corner.
And I've
PowerChat.live/Paul
I've actually
Town.
got something fun for everybody. Next week, we should be getting a brand new version of this that will be beta testing. I got a friend of mine who's a programmer to build us a version of this that's totally decentralized and built on Bitcoin. So it'll be Bitcoin native. You'll be able to use Lightning and Liquid Tether, like USDT on the Liquid network. And it hopefully will be using serverless software that's totally peer-to-peer. And so we
I don't know what you just said, but
uncancelable
for those
super
who
chats.
don't know how to use that, just use PowerChat.
PowerChat.live/thebacklash.
And then the
Mark Blaster
FBI
sent
this week
$5 on my cook that I
amazingly
used to like White Boy
found their
Wednesday.
competence, and they were able
I feel
to
like Vince
thwart
is a real one.
this plot against
Franssen
AIPAC.
dodged used to make
Oh yeah, I
weird
was just going
sounds
to
during
talk
stuff.
about that. What if they like try to blame this thing on like this New Orleans thing? They're going to say, oh, it was like this was like very anti-Israel. And like,
Toss the lazy overboard. Napalm on the white sand shores. Death to the
You're good, dude.
communist hordes.
You don't have to feel bad about liking a show.
Your loved ones, set your sails before the setting sun. All aboard, we're pulling our weight. Gonna marry that girl, don't you wait. You gotta choose between sugar and steak.
blame this on like this was an
Up underscore
anti-Semitic attack.
yonder
And the
just
FBI
gifted
was like,
one
oh no, it
subscription on
wasn't.
Kick.
It had nothing to do with the guy. He was Jewish. It had nothing to do with that. It was actually some other dispute.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the ADL,
I do remember
yeah,
that.
the ADL was like, oh, you better. And the FBI came out and apologized basically to the ADL, Christopher Wray, and they're like, oh, we're sorry, it was an anti-Semitic attack. So I bet you they're going to do some.
They're
going
going
to
to do something like that.
Yeah.
Then there was also this mass shooting last night at the New York City nightclub. So this was gang related. There were a bunch of people that were lined up at a nightclub in Jamaica, which I think is Queens, right? It's some shitty area of Queens. To remember this 16-year-old that got shot. But the 16-year-old was part of an FNO street game for, I can't say N-words on here, can I? For N-words only crew. And I guess this was a retaliatory event. So this, doesn't really tell us anything about everything else. There were 150 pipe bombs found in this Virginia home.
Oh yeah, hold on, let me get that up.
A lot.
That was weird.
Yes. So this was based on an informant, and apparently in the house with all of these explosives, the guy was using Joe Biden's picture as target practice.
Oh my god, sick guy.
So why am I laughing? I'm sorry.
150. That's a lot too.
Yes. And then of course there was the German Christmas market attack, which we talked about on our gingerbread stream.
Did we?
I think so. And this was perpetrated by a Zionist, and everybody's been talking about that, but I kind of don't care because I'm like, what? You shouldn't be in Germany. I don't care what you think. Why are you in Germany? What are you doing here? I hate to cruise through all of these things,
Holy
but
cow.
Cameron, do you think that all of these things are related? Are we being insane? Are we being tinfoily?
To say that they're related? Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of things are happening right now because the situation economically, politically, geopolitically in the world is very unstable.
Sucks.
And so you're beginning to see that. Now, are there untoward influences? I do agree with both Vince and Dave, who implicated earlier that these sort of like mass killings in New Orleans, Germany, and else, they're a bit odd. You know, I tend to divest early on from stories because there's so much misinformation.
Right.
That
Frozen.
How long do you guys typically give it?
This is Elon Musk's fault.
I know this is
This
definitely
show
on-
brought to you by Starlink, by the way.
Starlink.
How long do you guys wait until you feel like you have enough information to talk about something?
Immediately.
Okay, that's crazy.
Immediately.
I mean, you can talk about it.
Oh, he's
Always
back.
right
Cameron's back. Cameron's back.
Cameron, how long do you wait before you typically feel like you can talk about something online after a news story breaks?
Yeah, I'm patient, but I have a different objective, right? I'm not trying to get hot takes and so forth. But no, look, I don't think these are all connected. I do think that, I don't know if you heard me say earlier, but I think Dave and Vince are correct to be suspicious of these mass killings in New Orleans and in Germany. Those are a bit odd. I won't go further than that. That being said, again, try to work backwards. What's the objective? If the objective is to
Punish farts at 0.0405 XMR. And that person's name was Paul Town.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Punished Fart. It's crazy that I built the tech system. I built the tech system for their crypto donations.
Nobody supports it. So if that is in fact their objective, it's going to fail. What it will do is it will exacerbate the racial tensions domestically.
No, I'm kind of dying.
Really
This food is so spicy, dude.
Ultimately, the direction of travel, which is what we've got to focus on, favors the emergence of the right. It favors the nationalism across the West. I don't even like to use the term right because really what you're seeing is the right-left paradigm is collapsing, and you're seeing nationalism emerge against globalism, which is seized control of institutions, the media, et cetera, et cetera. That direction of travel is only picking up pace. And I suspect that we're in a feedback loop. What that means is that everything we're starting to see is going to reinforce that conflict. Some people are going to interpret that as conspiratorial. I think less so. I think really things are just sort of descending into anarchy.
Thank you.
And this is going to pick up in intensity throughout the year. The only other thing,
Spicy curry. My Indian friends are trolling me.
Assume
I am having some curry. It's so spicy, dude.
Events are top down driven. You know,
Right.
I said this a few weeks ago about the events in Syria. Just because Joe Biden comes out and takes credit for it doesn't mean it was his brainchild. It certainly doesn't mean that some umbrella organization is doing things. Lots of what's happening is at the local organic level that may or may not have anything to do with the overall, HQ involved.
Right. And I think that we have to think about the mental health issues with the individual that's watching the infrastructure and the society around them collapse. So they have even less support and they already have problems with reality testing. So we're seeing chaos emerge, and the obvious solution to a chaotic world is order. And that is when authoritarianism and nationalism
My Indian friends.
I was even going to
can rise.
I was even going to bring up the fact that even Bernie Sanders is on our side of the H-1B debate.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I think the Democrats, because they're more the traditional Labor Party. They're going to be even good on this.
Steve looks Chad. I'm not gonna lie. Steve is looking very Chad.
One thing I want to say about go
One
ahead,
thing,
Cameron.
just real quick, Vince, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No,
one thing
go
that,
ahead, cut me off.
That one thing is very important is that things are becoming very binary, okay?
Black Swan, would you admit? Would you be honest and admit that Steve Franssen looks very Chad in this show?
In other words, you could have multiple different opinions on things. The H-1B issue, which I know we're going to elaborate on in a moment, I think terrorism, a lot of these domestic issues, they are shrinking in terms of an A-B paradigm. And a lot of it is about race.
He's mogging.
Forcing the issue. That issue
Cookie
is
for me?
stimulating an
Cookie for
awakening,
me?
and that is going to strengthen nationalism. It's going to
cookie for
strengthen
me?
our side. And I think
Don't mind if I
ultimately
do.
that's
Cookie
what
for
you're
me?
seeing. Again, the direction of travel
Cookie
to
for
me
me?
seems very clear, even though these
I'm the
events
Cookie
are very
Monster.
murky and chaotic. So don't lose sight of the big picture.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the same thing as like I don't know about the Christmas market thing that we talked about back during the Christmas special that we did.
Oh, cookie for me?
Back in the Christmas special, we talked about that, right?
Hey, Darth Flock, that's not right to say.
That happens all the time in Germany.
Oh,
right?
cookie for me? I love
solution to
cookie.
The problem, though, is not to get rid of those people. Their solution to the problem is to set up more cement blocks around Christmas
Right.
markets to try to prevent them from killing people. When in reality, you should just get rid of these people. And it's just like with the H-1B thing. It's like those sorts of things, while they are tragic, it does wake a lot of people up. The H-1B discussion, a lot of the people that are like pro H-1B on Twitter right now are actually doing more for the anti-immigration side than really anything else. I think Keith Woods tweeted about this as well. That like all this whole thing as they try to defend
Keith Woods
H-1Bs
goated?
more, they actually do more for our side than anything. And it's
Keith Woods goated.
Just two things real quick. Sorry, Dave. Two things real quick. One is
cookie for me?
cumulative. Things are cumulative now, okay? So you can't look at these events in a vacuum. What happened in Germany has a sense of tragic continuity to it.
Cookie for me?
Said, as Stalin said, one death is a tragedy, a million is a statistic.
I do look like Norm Macdonald. You're right.
We're now in this environment.
How did you know?
In which the millions have died.
How did you know I look like Norm Macdonald?
Metaphorically speaking, and now
Thank you, Friendly
everything that
Food.
happens is a
Oh,
massive
cookie for me? I
tragedy.
love the cookie.
So the second piece of this is that because of the cumulative effects, now we're in an explosive situation.
Yes.
So you're beginning to see asymmetric backlash. In other words, again, if you look at Vivek's tweet or something of that nature, maybe a few years ago you got some pushback. Today, it's laced dynamite, okay? I think we're going to start to see more and more of that in terms of tripwires being everywhere. And bear in mind that this is where the elites are going to be exposed, okay? Because they don't understand that the political dynamics have changed.
Give me a white pill, Paul Town.
Life, no matter how bad it gets, is not going to be hard for you. Because if you are in these circles, you're probably not retarded. Some of you are, but if you're not, like, if you're above average IQ, like, even though life gets hard for people, if you're above average IQ, it won't get hard. Just don't be a moron. Life gets hard for retards, and it gets easy for everybody else, no matter what.
Has acknowleded that
white, black,
real L's.
Mexican, Jewish.
We were going to talk about
if you're not
this year.
retarded, your life's easy.
Pull it up, Dave.
Eventually.
They talk about, it's this op-ed about all of the ways that truth
White pill, there's cookies.
over anti-Semitism is cool.
White pill,
DEI.
There's cookies, there's beer, there's boobs, and there's motorcycles. Football. White pill, you can watch football. There's boobs. You can look at naked bodies of women on the internet. As much as you want. Hours, days, weeks. You could spend an entire year looking at pictures of naked women on the internet. You wouldn't run out. That is a white pill for you.
Talking about people leaving mainstream
and
media,
weed. There's weed. Just ask my friend Jimbo Zoomer. He smokes weed. He loves it.
The numbers at the previous legacy media, like Don Lemon, Megyn Kelly, and then the year
Clark Blaster
anti-Semitism.
sent $50. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. Enjoy the porn on the internet. You're welcome. Enjoy looking at pictures of naked women on the internet and touching yourself.
At anti-Semitism, I mean, we shouldn't even use that term because it's
right.
Let's just say an objective assessment of Zionist control of our government, etc.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
On this program, that at least since Reagan.
If I click off and back on the screen and watch the ads again, is there ads? Are there ads on Rumble? It's crazy.
Right. And I think these two things are beginning to converge, as Dave said a moment
I love Jimbo's sexy butt. You know, Jimbo once sent me a nude.
1990s with the
Jimbo sent me a nude and say, "Hey, I sent you a naked picture of my body. Send me weed in exchange. I'll send you more pictures." I said, "Dude, that's gross. I don't know who you're hanging out with, but I do not accept payment for drugs in the form of naked male bodies." Now that's icky. Don't send me that again. He said, "Sorry, I just really need weed right now."
Been very upset with the fact that supporting Israel has become a political left-right fight. And that's their own fault. They did that. They
Who
did.
was the one that hacked
Rumble
the
keeps
Twitter
trying to tell me I can make my dog live for 90 years. Duh, obviously.
The Ford Twitter account, and we all know what Henry Ford wrote about the Jews. The Ford Twitter account
On the
got hacked,
Jews and their lies.
Israel is a terrorist state, I think, is what they tweeted.
Yeah, let me see if I
Israel's
can.
committing like genocide or something.
Let me see if I can
Pretty
pull it
interesting.
up. I think.
So your
I think
friend
it's
was being
fine to
vulnerable and you
choose
basically
that
made fun of
account
him.
There was a,
Yeah, dude.
There was a
Called
really
being a sociopath, okay?
article that was written.
Called not actually having real
I don't
friends
know
and
if we're
just
gonna talk about
hurting
it
people
correctly,
'cause you
but
find
there's
it
a very
funny.
important article that was
It's
written
called being
by
red-pilled.
Alexander Dugin, who I think addressed the issue of Zionism better than I've seen it addressed in quite some time. And he basically phrased it as follows. He said, "We've gone from Auschwitz."
When are we going to start talking about
the
spankings?
legacy of the Holocaust and the principal victimization of Jewish people to Gaza. And
Weed is awesome.
That is a powerful
I love
shift
weed. And
that
weave, too.
The Zionist powers that be have lost complete control of.
Gay boy Mio
They're
going after
trying to
Jimbo.
get control of that narrative. They're
Mio also
trying
sent me his
to
naked
collect
body, but he didn't want
and
anything. He just said, here's a
reframe.
picture of my naked body. I said,
think they've
dude,
utterly failed
number
to do so. I
one,
really do.
you're
Their
black.
last
Number
hope,
two, I don't want to
as,
see
I
that.
think Dave
All right?
alluded to a moment ago, is Donald Trump.
Right.
And yet, that's another reason why all of us
Is this
are
Peter
very
Thiel?
skeptical of Trump, of the supposed.
Oh, you're a real asshole. You know that? Yeah.
And
I
start
don't
to
care.
shift into a new political.
Yep, I don't care, dude. It's called being an alpha male.
I've talked about before, because Trump isn't it, and I also think that's in large measure why his.
Are you in direct contact with Weave? Yeah, of course I am.
It was too smooth.
You don't have Weave's email?
That to happen.
Right.
Go ahead.
If you don't have Weave's
Cam,
email, you don't
think
know what's
that
going
there's,
on.
Any similarities there with AFD or National Rally? The way that the Zionist issue is kind of turned into a Republican Party issue. Is that happening with AFD and with National
Yeah, because you got
Rally?
Elon always like boosting, like glazing AFD on
Right,
Twitter all the time.
right.
Stop saying glazing.
He's glazing them.
He's glazing them. It's correct. What do you think?
I got a smile out of him.
Oh, I don't.
We got him to smile.
Europe is quite different, right? The politics over there are far more complicated. I do think you're right to some degree on National Rally. So again, for those who don't really understand French politics, you have what used to be Front National, which is run by Marine Le Pen, and she has pivoted on the Israeli issue. And a lot of people believe that that's because she's trying to corner the market and basically, I don't know what you would say, sterilize the racist, bigot Zionists in the National Rally. That's happened to some degree, Dave. I think you're right in some sense. But the fact of the matter is the politics in Europe are decidedly shifting to the right in ways that have outpaced anything that the Zionists are trying to control or even understand. The issue in Europe is the European Union, as I said earlier. The European Union is the mechanism by which these countries are controlled. And one other thing to note here, and this is a similarity between Trump and I suppose what's happening on the right in Europe. None of the right-wing parties, if you want to call them that, they're just nationalist parties, really. They have no ability, they have no power to govern in Europe. So National Rally had a seismic electoral victory, and they have basically no power in the parliament. The same thing is happening to AFD, okay? Likewise, I think you're going to see an anemic Trump administration. So he won. It's a virtue signal to his supporters, but there's no teeth. There's no substance behind it because the system, in our case, the two-party system and the Zionists that run it have assimilated him.
That Dugin article was excellent. And I think that he did just a perfect job capturing the issue. I think you're right in a way that people haven't done, nobody else has done in years. Steve, do you think that Jews are going to be able to regain control of the narrative in a meaningful way? Do you think that they're going to put up some kind of, I don't know, they always use emotionally manipulative tactics, but what do they even have anymore?
I guess they have.
Oh, the weed is probably in your fat. The weed is in your fat, so it'll
Banks in the media.
it'll pass through slowly.
All of the media.
The tests catch it.
No. I mean emotional leverage, which is their greatest weapon. The Holocaust is no longer it for them. They can't do it anymore. And that's what Dugin talks about. I understand they have institutional power.
Crazy.
I would never say they did.
It's crazy to get Tucker Carlson. I'm just going to say this, okay? I don't mind, all right? It doesn't bother me. But it's crazy to get a Tucker Carlson sponsorship and then talk about Alexander Dugin. It's kind of bizarre. kind of bizarre to do. But
Jews again.
My sisters are
distracting.
teachers, and my one of my sisters. So one of them's a nun, teaches at a Catholic
Paul
school.
Seething.
The other one is just a normal.
I am
teacher,
Nosferatu, and Geralt
teaches
is
at
Lily
public
Depp
school or whatever, and she
Brown
talks
nipple.
about how they are made to teach about the Holocaust.
Hail Russia.
Yes.
in
Of
school.
course, yeah.
So a lot
Hail
of
Putin,
schools, it's
hail
like a
not my
mandatory
people.
thing.
Yes.
Hail my
if they
paycheck.
can re-educate through education the next generations, and they have control of the media and stuff like that. They would just be like a continuous cycle of this sort of like, we're on the cusp. Oh, we're not on the cusp anymore. We're on the cusp. Oh, we're not on the cusp anymore. Because you just got these generations just being cycled through with this re-education and this like brainwashing. But
How
maybe
long-
it's starting to crack. I hope it is.
Who here was taught about the Holocaust in school?
I was taught all the stuff about the lampshades and the freaking.
Me too.
At what age? were
Every
you?
young.
age,
I remember young.
Yeah.
Do you remember what grade you were in?
I remember
Elementary
you had to
school.
read. You had to read the all the books, and you had to watch the movies and.
So I remember for me it was third grade. Third grade when they were
How
showing
old are you?
me-
Like 8?
Yeah.
I don't remember the grade, but
And they were like showing the photos of the bulldozers. And it's like
That's
like dumping bodies into pits. And it's like, why would you show an 8-year-old
an 8-year-old
that?
that.
yeah.
Oh, why do you always take shots
Why
at
would
everyone
you
except
do
Nick?
that?
Because you're a
I
little
mean,
gripey slave follower
like,
bitch.
MK Ultra purposes, right?
Hey.
To psychologically
Traxy,
traumatize kids. and
that's
create
not fair.
an
That's not
instinctive
fair.
Pavlovian
Yeah.
response.
Yeah, of course. Well, we're paying for it now. God is going to smite us. Let's show this clip of the lightning strike on
Cam
the Capitol.
wants to say
Cam,
something.
you wanna get
Go
in
ahead,
here?
Cam.
Just a couple things to note. One is that obviously the ADLs is not necessarily an objective source to be sure, but if you look at surveys going back 20 years from the ADL and other Jewish organizations, they show a consistent increase.
Base
in
coast, coast to
anti-Semitism.
coast. Are you a woman? Why do you have
That may
why are you
not
doing a
be
woman emoji?
Anti-Semitism outright, because again, that's sort of a misapplied term, but awareness nonetheless of their sort of control and domination of government. I don't think it's growing. I think it has exploded.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
returning.
It has skyrocketed. Okay. Now, the trick to exerting influence from their vantage point, because they are a very tiny minority, was always the ability to conceal the fact that they were doing so. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the first battle that they've lost. Now, the recourse to that, as we've seen, has been censorship. But censorship, and this is something I've well documented on my channel, censorship not only has failed, it's caused a feedback loop in the opposite direction, right? So now you have all these people like Fuentes and many others, Tate and so forth, that not only have essentially received the nuclear option in terms of censorship, and they're back and as strong as ever and growing, okay? This is, I think, door number 2 that has closed.
Cookie, let me eat the cookie.
So we're at door number 3, and that is
I would start eating the
raw
cookie.
power. Now, they do have raw power, but again, remember, you have
Every time
to
somebody else would talk,
dispense that
I would start
power
eating cookies loudly in the microphone.
so, in other words, if you're running a bank, you gotta run it competently. My argument, the main thesis that I've advanced on this platform and others, is that they've done a very shitty job of that.
Yes.
Right? They have embroiled themselves in these conflicts all over the world. They brought attention to themselves in ways that they should not have done. And to Steve's
What's a
point,
flask of coffee?
Racial
Cookie
consciousness
time.
and awareness of
I'm
the
eating a cookie on the
JQ are
table.
one in the
I'm the
same
cookie
thing.
monster.
They have converged.
And then I would just eat the
Okay?
cookies
So
and
I
then,
don't
and then
think
run
they're gonna
away,
be able to
laughing.
create this sort of
I'd run out of the
size
building laughing after I
in
ate all the
ways that
cookies.
other people have feared in the past, which is why I said earlier, they can do whatever they want in Germany. It's not going to get all these Germans on board with supporting Israel. That's not going to happen.
Right,
What it's
right.
going to do is bring attention to who brought all those foreigners to Germany to begin with.
Cookie time.
Absolutely. And we've all done fairly well with censorship. Like Steve was pretty widely deplatformed.
Damn.
And then he just retreated. So
Wealthy
that he
rapist
could
trying
work
to-
on his base of philosophy and work on himself. How many young men have done that? I mean,
Yeah.
I would imagine quite a few. We all just hung out until we had an opportunity to reemerge, and now we're stronger. I think that they're
And we're
really
back.
messing up.
Well, and speaking of censorship, I don't think we've talked about this yet, unless I'm having a mini stroke.
What if Steve is
but,
stealing cookies when they're not
this
looking
past week over
and putting them in his
this
pocket?
H-1B debate that we're going to get. It's going to be the main topic. But as an aside beforehand, it looks like Elon Musk or Adrian Dittman. I don't know who's who
I
anymore.
don't think that's Adrian. I don't think that's
but
Elon.
What?
They went through, hold on a second, we'll get to that. They went through and they suspended something like 14 accounts on the accusation that it was a botnet and it wasn't, this project.
Did you eat all those cookies on the table?
And
If
it's
somebody said offered you $50,000
these
if you could eat
people
all the
admit,
cookies on the
for
table in
example,
one sitting, could you do it?
ratioed Elon Musk with 42,000 likes to 13.
Yeah, I've been in New Hampshire.
And that ratio happened
Very nice
in
place.
20 minutes. So you
That
can
whole
see
area of the
that
country is
they
awesome.
they're still resorting to censorship, and it's broken.
God sex.
These young
What does that
worker
even
kids
mean?
just are respawning over and over again as quickly as they can make new accounts.
Yeah, what if Steve
There's
said,
nothing that
fuck
they can
them
do.
niggas. I piss on them
They
niggas.
censor
Grover niggas. I piss on them
The
niggas.
same
Fuck them.
tactics over and over again.
Ah,
people are
hell
going
no.
to
Fuck
adjust.
them niggas.
And the nature of
Them my
technology,
ops.
which is what we leverage
Fuck
every
them
time we do
niggas.
this show, is that it's dynamic. It changes, which means that you have the
Could you
ability
eat all those
to
cookies on the
outmaneuver
table
the censorship.
if somebody
And that's
offered you
precisely what's happening.
$150,000,
The other
but you had to
thing,
eat them in
too,
one sitting?
A lot of people get very black
Fuck them niggas.
They tend to think linearly. So they think, oh, well, over the last 80 years since the Second War, we've had institutionalization of propaganda, right, of false truths. And so it's going to take us 80 years
Ma, cookies
to
now.
unwind
W
all
cookie
of the
time.
poison. That's not the way it works.
Fuck them grapers, man.
In light speed, which is very fast. You can wait
Fuck them grapers, man. I'ma say here, eat my cookies.
by
Fuck
reality.
them niggas.
And I would argue that part of the reason for that, as I said before,
So,
is because human beings
This is
are
my
spiritual
promise
entities.
to the people of the Video Podcast Network world. I will not eat a single morsel of food until Margaret Thatcher is dead and buried.
She died 3 weeks ago. We'll be
Fuck them niggas.
Larry King.
Thank you very much. That was very good.
He was born in Texas, right? They say he was born in Texas. So I see a lot of
Anonymous
these
sent
like
$10.
pro H1B
Okay.
people that are like,
This is my promise.
Ooh, we should watch
to the
this. What is
people
this?
Of the Video Podcast Network world. I will not eat a single morsel of food.
I do look like Norm Macdonald now.
Margaret
That's kind of
Thatcher is
crazy.
Dead and buried.
That's crazy how much I look like Norm Macdonald now. I guess I'm a goat, huh? Just the goat phenotype.
We'll be right back with Larry King.
Fuck them niggas.
talk about crime rising or the rising gangs in this country or gang crime. in this
Northeast is the best
country.
place in America.
Maybe they
Upper
were born
Midwest
here,
too.
but they're products
Upper Midwest,
of
Northeast,
immigration.
the rest of the
Right,
country
so
sucks.
when you look at, when you say, we have a higher crime rate than America has a higher homicide rate than you know this
niggas.
than Finland. It's like, well, if we had the same demographics as Finland,
it would be a
then we
very
have
empty
the same
country.
crime
There's
rate.
only
We would
6
have the
million people
same
there.
homicide rate, but we don't have the same demographics.
The fat version of Norm Macdonald. Hey,
So
I'm not even fat. What are you guys even talking about?
The gang membership.
You guys are retarded.
Rate or the
I'm not
crime
even
rate
fat.
of gangs
Stop calling me
or
fat.
whatever.
I'm gonna start banning people that call me fat again.
That's a product
I'm gonna start
That's a
banning whoever calls me
product
fat.
of demographic change. So it is connected.
You guys are used to like
For these people
starved.
that are now like,
I can't
this-
win with you guys.
I can't believe this happened.
I don't
I
work
can't believe
out.
the
You call me
Christmas market
skinny
attack
and
happened. It's
loser.
well,
And then I
why
work
are
out and you guys call me fat.
police?
Yeah. And what did you
we
think
should
was
have
going to happen?
There's no way I can win.
right now. With the way that shit's going, like housing prices, the economy, like we should have
them
zero
niggas.
immigration
Right. I don't want to rehash.
I'm not even
the tweets
bulking.
that people have been reading. Musk's tweets. and
180
everybody knows about
pounds,
Vivek's tweets,
6
but we
foot
should,
two. Not
in case
bulking at
you're
all,
living
dude.
Under a rock and you haven't heard some of
them
the things
niggas.
that,
Thank
that
you,
Musk
smart boy
and
scholar.
Vivek were saying. So Musk.
Can we get
tweeted,
a Franssen take? I'm kind of pissed
the number
off.
of
There's not
people
enough
who are super
Franssen.
talented engineers and
Where's
super
the
motivated
Franssen?
in the U.S. is far too low. Think of this as a pro sports.
You just have
team.
to start
If you
doing
want your
roid?
team to
No,
win
why
the
would I start doing
championships,
roids?
You need to recruit.
I'm trying to
top
get good at boxing, not
talent
getting
wherever
jacked.
That they may be. That enables the whole team to win. So what we have are these tech billionaires that do have
Fuck
a
you
concept
niggas.
of team.
What if-
but they lack the.
What if Steve
ethos, the
Franssen leaned into the
understanding
mic and
of
said,
ethos? So Elon is thinking
them
in a different way
niggas,
than
and
all
sat
of us.
back
He
like
doesn't
this.
Believe that. We're even
And
like
didn't
a
say anything for the
team on
rest of the
planet
show.
Earth. He wants us to go to Mars. Like, I don't think he really cares about race. I don't think he cares about America. He himself is an immigrant. He surely doesn't care about his people. I mean, why isn't he in South Africa?
Elon
Why
Musk,
isn't his
fuck
whole
that
mission
nigga.
in life as a
Fuck that
billionaire
nigga.
trying to save white
Like
South
that.
Africans?
Fuck these
He
cookies,
clearly doesn't care
man.
about
Fuck
race.
that nigga.
And then Vivek, of course, who's this shifty Jeet that pumped and dumped the stock of a drug that he knew didn't work. But he's talking about what it was.
Oh,
like
the
to
Black
grow up.
Runner
He said,
Canadian
"More
guy from
movies
yesterday?
like
That's crazy.
Backlash, Fewer reruns of
Yeah, that guy
Friends,
was
more math
odd.
tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions.
Less fun.
Yeah,
that
just less
nigga.
fun. More books, less TV, more creating, less chilling.
Chocolate chip ass crackers.
Less
Fuck
hanging
that
out at the
nigga.
mall. I don't think this guy has even seen what our mall culture is like recently.
Most malls are closed at this
The most malls are closed. Yeah. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of
Nick
kids. with
Disrespecter
scorn. If you
88,
grow up
Fuentes
aspiring
ball
to
washing.
Normalcy. Normalcy is what you will achieve. Normalcy doesn't cut it. in a
Franssen needs to hit the A button on him.
hyper-competitive Global
On these
market for
niggas.
technical talent. And if we
Can
pretend like
Franssen
it
please
does,
hit the A button
we'll
on these
have our
niggas?
asses handed to us by China. Now, this is the argument that I hear from mainstream conservatives all the time.
Fucking
We have to
niggas.
compete on a global market. But nobody ever addresses, except for the dissident right, that the thing that makes us most competitive in the global market in all ways is racial homogeneity, and that's how you maintain a culture. So they're totally selling us out. And Vivek has to do this because I believe he's the product of H-1B1 visas, isn't he? And I don't think his
I don't
father is a
know.
citizen either.
Let's ask
I
Grok.
don't know. I have
Well,
no
and
idea.
you don't have to be competitive. You can just stay home.
Yeah.
You can just be American and enjoy your life.
Right,
and,
right.
Like, why do we need to compete with China? They're just, they did a survey of Chinese
Facts.
of over 1,000 people, and none of them had an inner dialogue.
And none of them could say the R.
Not a single one. So
None of the
what kind of
Chinese
society
people
do
could
we
say
need to compete
R.
with?
They can never
Like,
pronounce
we
the
just
R. They always said L instead of the R sound.
Do some.
They always do the L
culture,
sound. Do we
have
want
some
to
nice
actually kind of try to beat those
times. We don't
people?
need to compete
We've already
with
won. They can't pronounce the
Especially in
R.
that way. And what is competition on that level?
Is that Steve Franssen's wife?
GDP.
Like, right. It just means
Just
GDP.
replacing. They just think in terms of mathematics,
And that we're economic units.
Yeah, we're-
You can
Yeah, where
just
did the cookie go? One cookie's missing.
right? But you can't just.
Who took the
It's not
cookie?
Like Sam Hyde said in his video. It's
Oh,
like,
of course.
Right.
Like you can't just like.
Oh, Sam Hyde trigger word.
No, we're not
But-
interchangeable units.
Right.
Yeah, I think actually I don't want to cut off Cameron. No, go.
No, go ahead, Dave. No, go
I
ahead,
was just
Dave.
going to say that,
Is it weird? I don't like it when women talk about race.
I think Pope.
Yeah, I've talked about it. It's like basically women are just going to be agreeable with whatever culture they're around. Like women who are normal are going to fit in with their parents, their family, or their friend group. And so if you put them in a libtard environment, they'll be like nice libtards. They won't really be caring, but they'll kind of fit in. If you put them in like a racist environment, they'll be like nice racist. Like a good example is Brittany. She doesn't really know anything, right? Brittany doesn't have any real values or beliefs or understanding of reality. But she's racist now because she's around a bunch of racists. And she's nice. She's polite. But she obviously has no idea what she's talking about. She's just fitting in. You know what I mean? That's like the level of like just women are social.
Famously uncreative.
Well, and it's productivity toward what ends? It's like, so we're going to compete with China on like Chinese things. Like we're going to make some space colony
Yeah.
for Elon Musk. Like,
Right.
why can't we make beautiful cathedrals? Why can't we make beautiful parks?
Yeah, Brittany should be on the Backlash next. I want a date with I want Brittany to date Steve Franssen
and programming. So
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see what Glenn Beck said a long time ago? He was having this conversation with Matt Iglesias, who's the founder for Vox, a liberal. And he said
Imagine
we
that.
need 1 billion people. In
Imagine
America.
that, Simon Asuke.
That's what Glenn Beck. You can look up.
What?
You guys can look this up. He said,
China's about to.
we need more Mexicans.
China.
That's what we need.
China.
no, but the only
billion
way we can get 1
Mexicans.
billion people is if we have open borders. That's the implication,
Yeah.
right? Because we're not having enough kids to replace ourselves to increase our population. And the other thing is, it's like, let's just be real here. Let's be real simple. No one's fucking moving to China. Okay, immigrants aren't. Sorry, I forgot. This is a family show. We're trying to become.
I did a few too.
We're trying to become more family oriented.
We also got the studio blessed.
We did get the studio blessed, so we need to calm it down on that. But no one's moving to China. We're not going. People aren't going
No.
to China. Okay, in large, like not like they are here. They're going to white countries, and so that says something, right? That says something. And how are we expected to perpetuate white culture with people who are not from the West?
Exactly.
Because that's what
Right.
Western culture is. It's white culture. Comes from white people.
Why do Chinese have to be the antagonists to our story? Like
Right.
Chinese are just enjoying themselves, having a good time. They kicked out all the non-Chinese out of their country, and they're just building their world vision.
Bro's getting those yen.
We always have to be.
Bro's working for the CCP. He's been living in Beijing.
Furthermore, and
He's in
correct me
China
if
right
I'm
now.
wrong, but I'm showing on screen the image of the China 10-year bond.
Steve is a Falun Gong slave.
Well,
Nick
several
Gare sent
years have
$5
just
low key
absolutely
a trip seeing
collapsed, but,
Franssen back and right next to James. I'ma hit the dab pen and beat my wife's black children in celebration.
W.
these ghost towns in China.
Yeah, the Chines are okay though.
I don't think that they're
gold, they have Bitcoin. They're doing good.
They're doing well.
Yeah, they're doing quite well over there.
The ghost cities.
Okay, so let me just give me a few minutes here, because this is a much bigger issue than I think you guys understand. And I say that with all due respect, because most Americans, understandably, think about this issue in terms of America. This is not about America. And fortunately, I suppose, I'm uniquely qualified to address this issue. I worked in tech for almost half a decade. And I worked for 2 Indian-owned companies. They had offshore teams. My business mentor was an Indian, okay? He had a background in mathematics from Duke. He went to Wharton Business School, very talented and intelligent person, much like Vivek. But this issue is about assimilation, all right? It is about the myth of assimilation, because
Mr. Lover.
Vivek, if you
Anonymous
evaluate who he is
my
in a
fever
vacuum,
dream of Brittany.
he is the gold standard for immigrants. He is highly educated. He has made a lot of money. I can't speak to the fun and dumb scheme. I'm sure it's probably true, but I don't know. But he has a high educational attainment.
Thank you.
He's made a lot of money. He speaks our language fluently. He appears to champion American values. So a lot of people, Americans, white people, were understanding.
I'm a Chinese spy.
By his tweet. But if you understand who he is, and I grew up with these people, I know them all. I've worked with Keralites. I've worked with Telugus, Tamils, Marathis. I've worked with Gujaratis. Okay, I know India very, very, very well. When you understand these people, what you're hearing from Vivek is a completely hostile and foreign culture. This is very similar to what you see from a lot of South Asians that come to the United States. They never become part of America because they are not American.
Cookie for me. I love the cookie.
He's not an American. He's an Indian guy
who
lives in the United States. Okay. Now, why do I call attention to his background? His family comes from Kerala. Kerala is
for me. I love the cookie.
India, but
I love the cookie. Cookie for me.
Tamil Nadu. For those of you who do not know,
me. I don't mind if I do.
Is heavily involved in the software industry in India. Okay, but his family comes from an upper class in India. They are what's called
for me. I love the cookie.
Indian, virtually in the United States comes from 2 castes: the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas. They are the upper class.
Thank you. Isn't that a sick hat, retarded looker?
In India.
People don't understand. I have the sickest fits. I have the sickest tats. Sickest clothes.
You might say,
I look the best.
How many Indians work in software? A lot of people will say, I don't know, 10%
okay
of
for
India,
me.
20%. 5 million people in a country.
I would just DoorDash a cookie if I wanted a cookie, dude.
Work in software in India. That's it.
An Indian slave would bring me a cookie right now if I wanted one. Okay, I'm not jealous at all. I push the slave button and the Indian would bring me a cookie.
3,000 different castes. Because there is absolutely no equality in India. Because at every level of their society, there is complete divisiveness by language, by religion.
If I push the slave button, I hooked up a button I can push and it'll give me cookies.
In the world. They are far more
bring me a cookie now.
I might add, than the United States. People think the United States is the most diverse country in the world. That is nonsense. It is India, and it's not close. Okay, what that has
bring me the cookie
is a wildly dysfunctional society in which the elites at the top regard the rest of everybody as at the bottom. And if you want to
shave my head again,
you basically have to go
Ooh, maybe I should shave my head tonight.
Route number
on
1,
stream.
you work for the government, particularly if you stay in India. Route number 2, you go into software. Or route number 3, you become a doctor. If you do those things, you make money and you perpetuate your caste. If you do not, you live in filth and poverty and you're nothing. This is their society. This is the way they view things. This is why Vivek tweeted what he did. The issue is that's not how you run a functional society. You need a middle class. You need organic, low-level, highly capable people like everybody sitting on this table this evening, all right? And not everybody at the table is going to make $1 million, but they're highly capable and functional. That is the antithesis of the caste system that dominates India. And remember that the average IQ in India, as best we can estimate it, is in the mid-70s. Now some of that is probably...
Now that's an oof right there.
All right? Some of it is because
am I the top
conditions...
Am I the top Groper General left on Twitter?
Conditions in India are to say they are Dickensian.
Has Elon taken out Beardson for me yet? I mean, has Beardson banned?
Okay,
Well,
I
it's the
say
child
all
abuse,
of that
too.
to say this:
The child abuse knocks down the IQ.
if you look at China,
Geralt's going back to
how
India.
China became a
We are
modern
sending Geralt back to
industrial
Bharat.
power, because it has. All right, in 40 years, that country has completely transformed, and I have been to China. I saw it up close. They did the opposite of what Vivek argued. They created a program called Common Prosperity. And if you read any of the Chinese documents, what they insisted upon is that their growth model would center on Western economic principles with Chinese characteristics, executed by Chinese manufacturing, by Chinese human capital. In other
Cookie
words,
for me?
the very opposite of what Vivek
I'll
and
get a
Elon
cookie?
Musk have proposed. But what you're hearing from these two men, specifically from Vivek, is a completely foreign and hostile culture that has nothing to do with the egalitarian, homogenous white culture that built the United States and made it a global power.
Right. And I don't think it's just our misunderstanding of Indian culture. I think that Indians do not really understand our culture, and that's represented by what.
It's crazy how Ray was trying to roast me in the Twitter group chats. Now look at him. Now look at Ray. Completely alone. His account's taken away. He'll never make another penny off of Twitter. Goodbye. Goodbye. Looks like I win again. Cookie for me?
Okay. Fairness. Now these
Okay,
are
for
all
me.
European concepts. You think that these are
Sick
parts
freak.
of firmament. They aren't. The concepts like fairness, justice, trust,
Watch me get banned tonight.
and impartiality are completely alien concepts to the Indian mind. They cannot differentiate between right and wrong. They simply can't differentiate between what is right and wrong. They do not have the concepts, the Western value concepts that you think are a part of the natural existence. They aren't. Human rights is a Western concept that is incomprehensible to Indians. They fail to understand personal space and respect for the individual. Speaking to them about rights, even negative rights, I'm not talking about positive right, even about negative rights only leads to confusion. So here is the foundational principle.
Yeah, I should shave my head so I look like Jaden. Good idea. Go bald. Shave the front few inches off. Shave like this off like this, you know? And then I can make it long hair, grow, and move it across. And wear a hat everywhere. And wear a hat everywhere.
Like a water off a duck's back. So here is the problem.
I tried to watch this video and it sucked so much. I was like, this video is just gay. This is just a hater. This guy's just an A-log of his own people. It's retarded. This guy's just lying. He's just making up trash in the other direction. It's like, bro, what are we listening to this dude for? This man is Indian.
More malevolent.
That's just absolutely
Fairness.
scathing.
Who was that guy?
Oh, his name escapes me. It's in that tweet.
We got to give him a standing
He actually
ovation.
just did an interview with Pete Quinones a few days ago, so he might be available. But I encourage everybody to go through these tweets. It's just an absolutely.
Wait, who tweeted that?
This is from Europa ad Astra, at Europa ad Astra.
I'll add to that speech, very eloquent speech that he just gave there, and as well as Cameron's. Did you know that 95% of the people that shit outside are in Don't
Well, 65% of public defecation.
I saw that same video. Did you see that video? Yeah,
Yeah.
65%. I don't know if we could pull it. It was like a TED Talk.
Did you tweet, like, did I just watch a TED Talk about
No,
India?
someone did.
Oh,
I didn't
I
tweet
watched
that.
it, yeah.
Someone did. But there was a TED Talk about public defecation, and they said,
Quinones. Quinones is a dark energy about him.
All of the open defecation that happens in the world. This is the fraction that happens in India. And this is the fraction that happens only in rural India.
Oh my Lord.
65% of rural Indians defecate in the open. So what that means is that most of the open defecation that happens in the world happens in rural India, and most rural Indians defecate in the open. Every day, 500 million people
He came from Goldman Sachs.
in
W.
villages in India.
W. Goldman employee. Average Goldman employee. W.
Good Lord.
That's bigger than the population of the United States.
India.
More
day.
people than we have in the United States.
Live chat has
Shit
just
outside.
informed me that that guy's name is Jayant Bhandari.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was just on Pete Quinones, so please check that out. But I think that these people are right. I know that was a scathing review of India, but he does come from the culture.
No, I never played the new
understands it in a way that
Battlefront
we don't.
games.
And he goes on to say that they bring their culture wherever they go because they're having an existential crisis about their inherent moral inferiority. And so he talks about in Indian neighborhoods in the United States and other places, there are smells, there's chaos, it's filthy, people are still pooping outside and things like that because they have to bring that chaos into an orderly society or they don't know how they fit spiritually. And I think that that's an important thing to note. Cameron, would you talk a little bit more about this myth of assimilation? It's not just Indians. People are who they are.
Yeah, look, I tell people all
Indians
the time
poop mog.
because, you know, there's just a
Let's get
lot
real. Indians
here.
poop mog.
And I know. all of
Okay.
you can
Well,
attest
you don't
to
like it?
because you
Well,
have these
sorry. Sucks to suck.
conversations about
You can't poop mog. That's why you don't like it. You're
understandably
jealous.
So I think there's perhaps 50 million illegal immigrants that are in the United
For
States,
sure.
perhaps
Yep.
more than that. Okay? We do not
Probably.
know the exact numbers, and it's
Probably.
one thing
Also,
to-
some
to
Jewish people
weed
could do that.
out.
Jewish people can give rallying speeches. Like a lot of Trump's speeches were by
Oh, we lost.
Stephen Miller, the Jewish guy.
He'll be back.
He'll be right
He'll
back.
be back.
In the meantime, have you guys played the game where you?
Oh, there he is.
He's
He's
back.
back.
He's back. Sorry, continue.
So go ahead.
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. It's one thing to read that statistic. It's another to experience it. And a lot of the white working class that have not made a whole lot of their income earning capacity since the 1980s is basically flatlined, as most of you know. They have had to deal with mass immigration, whereas the majority, perhaps, of whites have not had to deal with that for the bulk of the last 50 or 60 years. That's now changing because the volume of
I enjoy psychoanalyzing brown people. I really don't.
placement of mass immigration
I don't-
is so great that it's affecting.
I mean,
everybody.
whatever. But people enjoy different things, I guess.
I think it's affecting you there.
Yeah.
10 years ago, that was not the case, but today it is.
Yes.
That being said, the multicultural platform, if you will, is a stool. And underneath that stool are all these various legs. Vivek Ramaswamy in Indian migration is a leg on that stool. So is African American, the Afro-American identity, if you will. If one of those legs breaks, the whole thing collapses, okay? Which is why there has been such a programmatic effort to protect all of these various groups, to sort of scaffold legal protection, political empowerment, et cetera, et cetera. What's beginning to happen now, I think, is that the normies on the right and perhaps some on the left are beginning to realize that the whole program is a conspiracy against their interests. And Vivek just served it to you on a silver platter.
Exactly.
Okay?
Right.
If Vivek Ramaswamy, who, as I said, is a high income producing, highly articulate, you might say well-socialized immigrant American, if he's not fully Americanized, then what immigrant can be?
He's not even an
This is the
immigrant.
kind
He was
of
born in
discussion
Ohio.
that we're going to begin to have. And I
Ramaswamy is an Ohioan, dude.
on this because it is a tricky issue. We all have friends that are of different races. I certainly do. As I said, my mentor in the business community was a brilliant guy, and he taught me a lot of things, okay? But I think the quote that summarizes it best comes from George Frost Kennan. George Frost Kennan was probably the most talented diplomat we've ever had, and he said, our capacity to assimilate
Cincinnati, yeah.
non-Americans basically is limited to peoples of Caucasian origin. Now notice, he said limited. He didn't say it was impossible, but limited means that you have to maintain the demographic balance of the country. And for the vast majority of our history, we've been 80 to 85% white, okay? Now that ball game is completely shifted, and we're in a very dangerous environment, but the multicultural stool is collapsing. And as I said, if one leg collapses, the whole thing breaks. That's what we're witnessing.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if you have those tweet links up about this because we're on to the H-1B visa
Steve, did you want to
topic.
weigh in?
Oh yeah, I mean, India is the most backward culture in the world because they're the worst child abusers. What the open defecation?
Oh, here we go. Finally,
is that they don't even do potty training. If you look into the statistics, this is the most shocking.
I didn't know this.
statistic. Well, one of them is that 100% of Indian girls have been raped by the age of 12, and the only ones that get away from that is if they've not had a male member of their family living in the house with them. So this is, I mean, it's just like
what?
And then another one is in India every year 15
they spank?
million newborn infant girls are murdered. They're they
Bro's got the facts.
They get rid of them anyway because they preferred to have males in India. And then, another one, like another sidelong glance at it would be like, we looked this up the other day, 700,000 Indians die every year from diarrhea. So
I saw that.
right.
I saw that
too.
statistic. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're
E.
just,
coli.
they're just horrific child abusers. And so they have to embrace mysticism essentially to hold up their
Right.
whole
And
society.
also they all those like weird deformed E. coli.
Durrell was
horrific
raped
child
when he was in India.
So they have to embrace mysticism essentially to hold up their
Right.
whole
And
society.
also they all those like weird deformed E. coli.
They're just horrific child abusers, and so they have to embrace mysticism essentially to hold up their
Right.
whole.
And
society,
There goes our content.
to actually come to terms with their reality, but they can't because they rape all their children.
Good way to end it, though.
They do rape a lot.
Yeah.
Vivek Ramaswamy
Wow.
raped Nikki Haley in that debate that one time.
Disavow. We do not want any liability here on
I know, right?
Backlash.
All right, you leave the
In the debate.
transitions up to me here.
In the debate. Oh, by the way, you can talk whenever you want. Well, this is not. I forgot to tell you.
I'm a great
This is how
listener,
this works.
so-
You
Raise
can
your
just
hand.
bud, just go right in. Just go right in.
It's hard to get a word in edgewise
Yeah.
with you douchebags, except for Cameron.
No, Cameron can talk too. He can talk. He knows how it goes.
No, I just said he's the only one that's not a douchebag. I was just talking about you.
Thanks.
He
I
might
talk
be a
over. I
federal
talk
agent.
over Dave a few times, and I'm sorry about that, Dave.
No,
I don't-
it's
I don't
my
No,
know
it's
if you
fine.
do that.
But this is an open
I did-
conversation.
I did want to add just a couple other things too, because this phony expression of the talent war is often used as the Trojan horse to deliver us from some kind of illusory threat that isn't real. Most of the Indians are here post 1965, as I think we all know, but they're here because of the corporations in the 80s that were trying to cheapen costs. They were trying to reduce both hardware and software costs. So they started by offshoring hardware costs, and they found places like India, and then they discovered that they could replace white workers, basically white technical engineers, with cheaper engineers from overseas. And that has become institutionalized and programmatic. And anybody that has a background in software engineering in the United States that's an American has probably seen it firsthand. You can go.
Hey, cut her some
universities in
slack.
Texas.
Let her be herself,
Missouri.
dude. Come on.
You'll see advanced software engineering degrees that are 80% Indian or 90% non-American. So what you're literally seeing is the displacement of our middle class programmatically by corporate interests. Now, I emphasize that because we tend to overstate the control that the powers that be have. There are many variables at play here. Some of what has happened is certainly the instrument of Zionism, okay? But a lot of the damage that's been done to the United States is the corporate interests. And that's to some degree what you're hearing from Elon Musk, as Rebecca said earlier, right? There is no centered thinking in the United States. These people live in some kind of globalist fantasy world where they're trying to maximize geo arbitrage. That's really their orientation. They could give a shit less about the country. And this is another distinction between us and the Chinese. In China, the corporations are subordinated to the national interest. In the United States, the national interest is subordinated to the corporate powers that be. Ironically enough, this brings us into alignment with people on the left who've been arguing this for a long time. They're absolutely correct. And that is really the reason why you've got so many of these people here. One final thing for those of you that are listening. If you really want to understand Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, etc., there's a book called The Sovereign Individual. Sovereign individual was an argument that states would collapse, that national identity was an anachronism, and we're basically going into a world where we're all going to live in these little pods as sovereign individuals, earning and maximizing our income at the expense, presumably, of other people. We'll live in sort of these small, like,
Well, the author's name is Mog.
ecosystems. Okay, this is their world.
Can we get Rudyard on here?
What you're hearing.
Where's the Rudyard content?
It's a falsity. It's not the direction that the world is going in. It's also a failure to understand how nations actually work. As we've said, they're extensions of the human component, of the spiritual composition that makes the nation possible. Without that, you can't have real wealth. But Elon Musk thinks that he's John Galt. He sees himself as this Ayn Randian figure that stands above everybody else and has no nation, no culture, no community. He's just maximizing profit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the mainstream conservatives, this is an issue of race for them. They're saying, I have a tweet from Michaela Peterson. Boy, she turned out to be even dumber than I expected. This girl, the Petersons,
roast
disasters.
Roast W.
She said, why'd the woke right pretend it was illegal immigration they were against when it turned out that it was immigration in general? At least be honest about it. If there's assimilation into the culture and legal immigration, what is the problem other than skin color? That it's all just skin color. And we're hearing this from people that are purported conservatives. And, you know, it's not like people were trying to say, well, actually, a lot of the boomers were saying, like, I just want them to come in. I just want them to come in legally. But a lot of people like us have been screaming from the rooftops, no immigration, moratorium on immigration.
Well, she's white and she sucks.
Oh, yeah. She's terrible. She's just awful. She has a giant whore. That is.
So,
but
she's white, but she doesn't fit in with America. So she should go back to Canada.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
how about that? She just
the
left
roast.
Canada because she said
this roast beef is rare.
and she emigrated.
This is rare roast.
Justin Trudeau is like, we're gonna need to stop immigration for like the next 2 years.
Did we read this tweet? Did we read this one? People who think less qualified Americans should be hired over more qualified legal immigrants are the same as pro-DEI.
Franson gonna get some.
Why India? Well, if they were truly interested in looking at us like cogs in the machine, or just like, oh, numbers, smartest person,
then we can have a conversation about European immigrants,
yeah,
right?
But that's
what about
not
all
what
of these
they're really
people
doing.
in South Africa that are endangered of being murdered by blacks? There are 4.5 million white South Africans that are all highly competent and know how to deal with angry minorities.
How long was Elon Musk in South Africa? I don't know, but he should know if he was in South Africa for a long time.
Right,
but yeah,
they
there's
just
the IQ.
have to be Indians. What was that statistic you said, Cameron? 5 million out of 1.5 billion.
Right. Yeah. Oh, there's a tweet. Someone tweeted this. I think it was me who tweeted out a picture of, I think it was me, but I might have reposted it. But there was a picture of someone did this on poll on 4chan. Or maybe it wasn't 4chan, I don't know. But someone like did the math, and they're like, based on the IQ, based on the bell curve, like we have millions more potential geniuses here in America,
than they do in India.
Than they do in India.
Yeah.
So that's not even what they're mostly
went viral
interested
for that,
in.
bro.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, you feasted for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just want to save money.
They do it's also they want to destroy the middle class of America.
Well, yeah, but the billion, I mean, like Elon Musk, he just wants to make money.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to pay people less.
There's something else that's fundamental here, and I'm sad to say I am somewhat surprised at the lack of depth on the part of Elon Musk, because yes, he got started with PayPal, but he has managed the factory floor, right? So he should understand.
More Rudyard? Is it the same video?
Book called Hive Mind by Garrett Jones. Let me just read a section of it to you, because
as
this
an example for why.
illustrative.
I mean, I feel like a total jackass
what
saying this, but I'm going to use myself as an example for why I think IQ is often broken. I have photographic memory. I can draw any country in any year in history off the top of my head. I write these videos off the top of my head. I'm easily in the 99th percentile in how much I read, and I dropped out of school when I was 19 because I was already running a successful business. And I'm about to have my 21st birthday, but From a statistical perspective, I have lower than average IQ. I didn't get good grades in school, and I didn't test well on the SAT. At the same time, IQ is one of the most verified and best studied things in modern science, and we know it does measure something really important. We're just not entirely sure what.
Better,
I mean, I
as
think
if
a total
by Adam
jackass
Smith's
saying-
invisible hand. Those millions of small cognitive contributions are what create each nation's collective intelligence, each nation's hive mind. Members of society all draw on that collective intelligence. They all benefit from the hive mind that they never pay for. Who's the hive mind? It's us. It's the society. That's what creates the social multiplier effect. You take that out and you essentially employ a program of economic mercenary recruiting. You lose that hive mind and everything collapses. And ironically enough, if you look at our major industrial programs since the 1960s, have they benefited from mass immigration? No. Our blue chip companies have systematically declined. Take Boeing as an example. There are countless others.
There was weren't they like training Indian programmers to do the 737 Max?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that was legit. I think that they were. And you were talking about we were talking about immigration. It was mostly from Europe for a very long time. Like 2/3 of immigration had to come from Northern or Western Europe because they have an easier time of assimilation, shared culture, shared history, shared experiences. They spoke the language, which was like the most basic form of assimilation. And now that we're on the trend of reading excerpts from books, I have one. This one's from Sam Huntington's "Who Are We?" And I pulled it. Let me just pull this up real quick. I have this in my photos here. There's a meme that's been going around. Have you guys seen this meme where it's like we want to hire the best people, and then it goes to I don't know if I think I have it in the outline.
It's right here.
See if you could pull that up there. That tweet link.
It's
been going very viral. A lot of people have been sharing it.
They have this all diagrammed out, by the way.
Yeah, that's
They're
thanks to
coordinating on this.
thanks to Rebecca.
I'm watching this right now.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I want to go ahead if you can read that, David. Let's see it.
I want to hire the most qualified candidate. I want to hire my own people.
I need the cookie.
Only brown guy. Yeah.
Right?
I need a
And
cookie.
then it goes,
You gotta do the accent.
and then there's two
Do the
brown.
accent,
Oh, I'll do
Dave.
the okay. I want to hire the most qualified candidate. I would like to hire my own people.
There you go.
There we go. I want to hire the most qualified candidate. I want to hire my own people.
I love
And then it's just, I want to hire my own people.
Do not redeem it.
Do not redeem it.
Do
Why
not
did you
redeem
redeem it? You bloody.
So this is from Sam Huntington's "Who Are We?" They say at a gold, and you have to remember, like it's only white people that think that will put the interest of America, and like Cameron
Give me
was
a
talking
cookie,
about in the
bro.
book that he was just
How will you
making,
get me a cookie?
will put the interest of society ahead of their identity, right?
Right.
And become an American and adopt the American identity. This is just like that Indian guy was talking about. Western values, Western culture, white culture. It says at a Gold Cup soccer game between Mexico and the United States in February of 1998, the 91,255 fans were immersed in a sea of red, white, and green flags. They booed when the Star-Spangled Banner was played. They pelted the U.S. players with debris and cups of what might have been water, beer, or worse, and they attacked with fruit and cups of beer. A few fans who tried to raise an American flag. This game took place not in Mexico City, but in Los Angeles. Now, we're not saying everyone, but other groups of people, aside from white people, tend to put their people, put their race, put their culture ahead of everything else, even if it's to the detriment of society.
Yeah.
And for them to argue for immigration, for mass immigration, for H-1Bs, people like Vivek, other people like that, in part, it's a racial thing. They want to see more people like them. And also in part, if you're, it is like a money thing. Because if you look at how much they have to pay H-1B, or how much they have to pay American workers versus how much they have to pay H-1B workers, it's a bigger profit right there. It's a bigger profit for them. And these people can't leave their jobs.
Right.
Right. They're indentured servants, basically.
And
But there's-
corporations have to fight inflation too.
Oh, right.
Right?
Okay.
I'm just a business owner. Yeah.
There is some truth to this
Cookie,
meme.
give me a cookie.
To a large extent, our technology sector has been captured by a foreign caste system, and that is how technology in Silicon Valley operates.
Yes.
100%. And, you know, I've seen it firsthand. My wife has seen it firsthand. My wife used to work at Ernst & Young, which is one of the worst offenders when it comes to H-1Bs. And she would have to, because the cost of living in the city is so high, she had to live 3 hours away from Silicon Valley. So she had a 6-hour commute every day.
Good Lord.
And then she would work
6 hours every day.
3 hours there,
That's
3
crazy.
hours back.
Holy moly.
And then she would work, 10 hours. Get home.
I want Steve Franssen to go for the
Yeah, I mean, she burned
weightlifting
out.
physique.
We got married, so I'm
like the heavy, what is it, powerlifting physique? Yeah.
But
I want Steve Franssen to look like a power lifter.
There
He
is
gets real fat.
preference.
Wait, H1Bs are running weight.
And he eats cookies the whole show.
Well,
Wait a minute. Maybe we should be on board with this. Hold on a second.
We're analyzing the meme.
Think about this.
Let's rewind a little bit here.
Just two quick things. One is in I think 2019 when I got back, I had taken a long trip to Asia, and I had a friend I used to work for in tech who was a white guy. So he was a rare bird, if you will, especially in Silicon Valley. And I took a trip over to Mountain View, which is where the Google campus is. And Dave is exactly right. Of all the people that I saw, and I was there, I think on a weekend, but there's still tons of people working there. And playing in there it's like a nerd gymnasium over there. It's a very strange place. I didn't find it particularly attractive. But anyway, I walked through the campus and I would
What's up,
say
Slytherin Mystic
80,
Caleb?
90% were Asian, mostly Indian, and then you had a lot of Chinese, Koreans, et cetera, et cetera. So you're exactly right, Dave. And the term that you use.
Oh, we lost him. He
no.
froze up again.
Just when he was about to glaze me. Come on.
I know. Too bad. Too bad.
It's that feeling when he compliments you or when he says that you've done something right. It's like
nice.
your parents being proud of you.
Yeah, it's like getting a good attaboy. I like it.
I know.
Thank
You're
you, Slytherin Mr.
exactly right. He
Caleb.
always says that. I'm like,
How was your New Year? Did you have a good New Year?
You're back. Yeah, you're back.
Here we go. You were just about to glaze
I need a
me. Hold
cookie.
on a second. You were supposed to pay me a big compliment. Go ahead.
Cookie time.
Yeah. The term that you used, capture, is exactly right. These corporate entities have been captured. And the demographics at Google, I presume Amazon, I didn't go visit them. But it's overwhelmingly immigrant labor at this point. And they don't represent the United States. They don't represent the interest of America. One other thing, when I left tech, I had to go to a presentation. I'm trying to remember the company that did it, but I think Salesforce came in, and Salesforce is a giant SaaS company. I don't know if you people know what it is, but anyway, it's one of the largest companies in the world. It's founded by a Jew, of course, Mark Benioff. But in any case, they were touting something called Agenda 2040. And Agenda 2040 is a systematic program whereby they're trying to restaff.
I want a cookie. Send me the cookie.
With representative demographics.
Yeah.
So forcing out talented people, in this case, white men in particular, but probably white people in general, out of these private corporate entities. And of course, this has already happened in the government sector, right? This is what I talk about all the time. You've had a restaffing across the board. So this is a systematic conspiracy against the interests of white America. And it's been done on purpose. And here we sit, and we're being lectured to by Elon Musk, Vivek, and the rest of us as to how this is in our best interest. It's a total fraud.
Gee, I wonder why stuff is just like falling apart. I wonder why stuff is falling. Like everything is falling apart from the top all the way to the bottom. Like even like new construction is like terrible, and the prices just continue to get high. I wonder why we don't have great, competent people in these positions. Could it be because you've been discriminating against white people, and really more specifically, white straight men in everything from academia all the way up to corporate jobs? There was a statistic that I saw people posting about after George Floyd. Only 6% of jobs in the top level jobs went to white men.
Right.
It was 94%.
Corporate hirings.
Corporate hirings. went to people of color. So they're actively.
I don't think Josh Akash is part of any network. I think he was kind of just like, kind of didn't have much going on, a lot of free time, and decided to try to do content. I don't think he really ever had like a big platform or anybody that really cared. Oh, I don't know if he ever needed a real job. I'm not sure if I think he's kind of set for life. I could be totally wrong, but I mean, that'd be the impression I got. That's like, this person is just kind of bored.
Would be so
which I relate
to have if you want to pull some of those up. I mean, you're telling me that we can't find an accountant that's making $145,000 in America that's white.
But he was always nice.
Like seriously,
Josh Akash always seemed nice.
Twitter. This is all
This
at
is
X.
all at X.
This is all Elon Musk for H-1Bs.
And then I saw the same one for the next link in the outline is for Tesla, and it's similar. And then it's unskilled positions. We're talking about plumbers.
Oh, a little flying squirrel. That's cute.
They're teaching.
That's so cute, girl. That's not real though, dude.
Janitors, people playing pickleball.
Welcome to the world, little one.
Strippers.
Yeah, it's
H-1B strippers.
H-1B. Yep.
We could do it.
There was a community note on that one, but I still chose to say it.
New meme coin.
Well, I'm sure there is.
Cool.
I mean, like this is how they. They could pay these people less. It's just like with everything. You know what they say? They always say it's the jobs that white people won't do.
No, it's not. It's all those jobs. It's all the
jobs have been, that list of jobs that white people won't do has been growing larger and larger and larger every single
White people
decade.
won't be an accountant anymore. White people won't be marketing director anymore.
Oh, white people don't want to be accountants. It's like, yeah,
we do. I mean, not me, but
we want to work construction.
Yeah, I used to listen to him a bit years ago, so I'm pushing raw egg nest. I figured I'd ask. No, I think he just wanted cool stuff. Like, I thought he just liked cool stuff. Like, stuff that he was interested in. But I think it's kind of like, what's even the point? Like, I should do other things on my time.
Jobs that they say white people won't do anymore.
we can find white people to do all of these jobs. And then the other myth that needs to be busted, I hate myself for saying Mythbusters, that it's our poor educational system that is causing this. So I read this tweet.
Oh, you talked about writing a real book. Are you planning to stick to fiction, or would you like to do philosophy? I already did philosophy. I already wrote a philosophy book, dude.
Only 27% of 8th graders are proficient in math. Hiring American workers is more difficult because of our education system.
Both.
Now, if you remove Black and Mexican students, you do only Asian and only white students, they are ranked top 10 worldwide. They are excellent. Excellent test scores. And in India, they've stopped doing some of these standardized testing because they performed so badly.
Well, because the kids are like pooping in the schoolyard. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
literally
terrible. Yeah.
Yep. That's
literally
the school system thing. It's like America's school system is so bad. Oh yeah, compared to all the kids in India being raped. I mean, like, what are we comparing here?
Right.
That's absolutely true. Let's talk a little bit about 2016 Trump and why you guys OD'd on hopium and you're all getting what you deserve.
Oh, wait, hell, before we move on to that, could I just say something about the schools real quick?
Sure.
Like, I know that it's been getting bad. It's like even I think the test scores for white people are going down as well or whatever. But yeah, okay, I agree. We need to get our education system under control. You know what the first step of that is? Getting rid of the Department of Education.
Right.
They're never going to want to do that. Returning education back to the states, getting rid of all this garbage and all this.
Higher.
I used to watch Josh Akash podcast years ago, and he'd always bring on Benjamin Braddock. LOL, he was cool though, but looking back on, it seemed a little sus. Some of it is just literally drug addicts. Like, drug addicts hang out with each other, and they're like, "Ooh, we should hang out. We should do something." And partiers and people doing drugs together. People doing drugs together, thinking like we should do this, that, and just being around. You know what I mean? Is It Is the Secret book one of your philosophy books? Of course. It's not unhinged. How is it unhinged? My books are not unhinged. What are you talking about?
Did you guys know that Hitler was gonna conquer India? I was just reading this the other day.
Was he really?
Yeah, he had plans. He told his top generals that he was like, okay, and after we take Turkey, we're gonna go down into India. We're gonna take India. Yeah, facts. So he
thoughts on chess sluts? I don't even know what that means, dude.
Oh, geez.
Women who play chess. Chess sucks.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so you guys, Trump is our guy.
Where's
Trump's
my
gonna do something this
cheese?
time, blah, da, 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 da. So everybody's feeling betrayed that...
I don't even want to check. I'm sure it's at $0.
Saran Krishnan.
Yeah.
Okay. That he wants to remove caps on H-1B visas. And everybody's all pissed off. Like, oh, how could this happen under Trump? We were so hopeful that Trump was going to do something that he didn't do last time. God, you guys are a disaster. So let's pull up this clip of Trump in 2016. It's clip
That's his
5.
real head, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I made a hilarious tweet about him getting stuck in a 6-pack ring when he was a baby.
Yeah, they're probably all just Jewish friends, dude. They're probably all just Jewish friends hanging out.
All right, here, hold on a second.
All right.
It doesn't need to be like a big conspiracy.
Did you guys vote for
It
Trump?
could just be friends.
I did.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Why'd you vote for Trump?
Yeah.
Just because there's a chance.
A chance of what?
There's a chance with him of releasing the J6ers. There's a chance of a lot of things. Not with Kamala, though.
There was a meme that I saw. I won't be able to find it while I'm talking about it, but there was a meme that I saw, and it was like, the kid on the road, and it veers to the left, and it veers to the right, and there's the nice castle on the left and the dark castle on the right. Yeah. And it's like, it's Kamala Harris with unlimited Mexicans versus Donald Trump with unlimited Indians.
Yeah.
And if I had that meme on election day, I would have voted for Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Give me the unlimited Mexicans.
Like they go after all their political enemies, and I don't think.
Well, that's such a bad frame. It's such a bad frame. Ooh, I know. Give me the other things I don't want. Give me the other thing I don't want. Don't give me the thing that I don't. Well, give me something good. Give me the worst thing. Slightly less bad thing. It's like, dude.